Lena, you are the best thing that ever happened to me.
Edwin once whispered to his wife, but years later his voice turned cold.
You mean nothing to me, Lena. You are classless. I've found a rich woman that can give me the kind of life I deserve.
I've only managed to be with you this long. Enjoy your worthless life, he laughed cruelly. She looked at him in shock, her heart shattered into pieces.
But I have always loved you, Edwin. How can you say such mean thing to me?
He walked out, leaving her in tears, not knowing that the same woman he was chasing had other plans waiting for him, and the same friend he ignored would one day do this. From outside, people thought Lena and Edwin had the perfect marriage. Lena was beautiful, respectful, and kind. She carried herself well, always putting her husband first. All around, people admired her. In the neighborhood, other women pointed at her as an example of a good wife. But inside their home, the story was different. Edwin was never satisfied. He complained about everything. Her cooking, her dressing, even the way she talked. If Lena cooked rice, he would snap, "So you cannot try another food? Must it always be rice in this house?" If she wore a simple dress out, he would hiss, "Look at you, always dressing like an old woman. Can't you dress like those fine women outside?" Lena swallowed her pain and kept trying to please him. She would stay awake late at night, ironing his clothes, cooking his meals, cleaning the house, yet he still complained. "Edwin, what else do you want from me?" she asked one time, with tears in her eyes. "I want a wife that will make me proud," he barked, without even looking at her. "Not someone that is just managing. Look at Dele's wife, always shining. Look at Tunde's wife, always elegant. But you, just stay here, always like a village woman." Lena's heart broke, but she kept quiet. She believed in her marriage vows and hoped one day her husband would change. But instead of changing, Edwin became worse. He started coming home late, smelling of perfumes Lena never owned. Sometimes he would say he had a meeting, other times he claimed he was hanging out with friends. But deep down, Lena knew something was wrong. One morning, she found a golden wristwatch inside his car. It wasn't his, and it was clearly a woman's. She confronted him, her voice shook as she spoke. "Edwin, whose watch is this?" Instead of answering, he flared up. "So now you are searching for my things? You are shameless, Lena. Don't provoke me this morning." He snatched the watch and stormed out, leaving her in tears. The only person who seemed to care was Rona, Edwin's closest friend. He had known them since university and often came around to advise Edwin. "Bro," Rona told him one evening at a bar, "don't take Lena for granted. That woman is gold. You may not see it now, but one day you may regret how you treat her." Edwin laughed bitterly. "Please, don't preach to me." "Which gold? This one that looks ordinary? I know what I'm doing." "You think you know," Rona shook his head, "but you're blind. The kind of women you're chasing will destroy you if you don't change. Mark my words." Edwin ignored him. Instead, he became even more reckless. He stopped eating at home, claiming he had already eaten out. He insulted Lena in front of friends, mocking her as village wife. Anytime Lena tried to talk, he shut her up with harsh words. One evening, after Lena cooked a special meal to surprise him, Edwin came in with a frown. He looked at the food and scoffed. "All this effort for what? Do you think food is enough to keep a man? Look at my life. I deserve better than this boring routine." Lena's hands shook. "Edwin, please, don't talk like this. I'm trying my best. I love you." "Love? Keep that love to yourself. Love doesn't pay bills. Love doesn't buy designer clothes. Love doesn't give me the kind of life I want. You become worthless for a man of my class." He stood and left in anger. That night, Lena cried deeply. She felt like a stranger in her own marriage. Everything she did recently to please Edwin only made him hate her more. The breaking point came a few weeks later. Edwin returned home and confidently started to pack some of his clothes into a small traveling bag, as if preparing to go for a vacation. Lena was confused. "Edwin, what is going on? Where are you going?" Lena asked in a shaky voice. He looked her straight in the eyes, cold and heartless. "I'm done pretending, Lena. This thing isn't working between us anymore." I've found a real woman and a woman of class, a woman with money. I don't need to stress myself in this poverty again. I'm moving in with her," Lena gasped like someone had stabbed her. "What? After everything? After all the years we've been together and I stood by you, you're leaving me for another woman?" He gave her a deadly smile. "Don't make it sound dramatic. You'll survive. Besides, Rona will be checking on you from time to time. You like him, don't you? Maybe he can keep you company." His laughter was cruel. Before she could speak again, he dragged his bag and slammed the door. Lena collapsed on the floor, tears poured down her face. Her world had just shattered. She thought of all the nights she prayed for him, the sacrifices she made, the insults she endured, only for him to walk away like she was nothing. The next day, Edwin shocked even more people. At work, his manager called him into the office for a private talk. The man, who had always supported his career, spoke with concern. "Edwin, I've heard some things. People say you're following a woman that isn't your wife. I don't want to interfere in your personal life, but is this true? Don't tell me you're trying to throw away a good woman because of temptation." Instead of listening, Edwin exploded. "So now you too want to advise me? I don't need this nonsense. If it's because of this stupid job, keep it. I have someone who can take care of me better than this useless salary." His manager stared at him in shock. "Are you saying you're quitting?" he asked. "Yes," Edwin shouted. "I quit. I don't need this job anymore. My woman is richer than this whole company." And with that, he stormed out, banging the office door. When Lena heard the news, her heart sank even deeper. She wasn't only abandoned as a wife, but now her husband had thrown away his job. That evening, she kept asking herself, "Why has everything suddenly gone sore because of me? And what did I do to deserve this?" Her pain grew heavier each day. Days after Edwin left were like heavy rain in Lena's life. The house felt empty, cold, and unfriendly. Everywhere reminded her of him, the chair where he used to sit, the shirts he left behind, even the sound of his footsteps in her memory. She couldn't eat. Sleep hardly came. Neighbors started gossiping behind her back. Some pitied her, some mocked her. "So her husband finally left," one woman said at the roadside. "All that her forming good wife didn't keep him." Another added, "She was too quiet. Men don't like quiet women, that's why he went for a rich, flashy one." Those words broke Lena, and she kept asking herself, was I not enough? Was I too simple? Did I fail as a wife? But even at all those questions, deep down, Lena couldn't find any fault in herself. Her family called, begging her to come home, but Lena refused. She couldn't face them with shame. How would she even face them? What would she explain to them if they asked? That her husband suddenly lost interest in her. It was shameful to even talk about it. She stayed indoors, praying, crying, and trying to keep her dignity. Meanwhile, Edwin was enjoying himself. He had moved into a big duplex owned by his new woman, Mirabelle. She was older, glamorous, and rich from her father's businesses. She spoiled him with gifts, expensive clothes, a new car, dinners at big restaurants. Edwin felt like a king. "This is life," he bragged, lying back on a leather sofa while Mirabelle poured him wine. "I suffered too much in that poor house with that good-for-nothing woman. Now I'm finally enjoying." Mirabelle smiled. "Enjoy while it lasts, darling. Just keep making me happy, and I'll take care of you." He didn't notice the sharp look in her eyes, the way she studied every move he made. To him, she was his savior. To her, he was just another toy. Back in her lonely world, Lena tried to survive. She started taking small sewing jobs from neighbors just to keep busy. But her heart was still heavy. One evening, she sat in her corridor, crying, lost in thought, when she heard a familiar voice. "Lena!" She looked up and saw Rona, Edwin's best friend, holding a bag of groceries. "What are you doing here?" she asked quietly, wiping her eyes quickly so he wouldn't notice. But Rona already noticed her wet eyes. "I came to check on you," he said softly. "I know things are hard now." "I don't want you to suffer alone." Lena shook her head. "No, please." "I don't need pity, Rona. I'm fine." But he placed the bag beside her. "This is not pity. It's care, okay? You deserve it. Edwin may not see your value, but I do, and I truly respect your strength." Lena felt a small warmth in her chest. She didn't know what to say. From that day, Rona became a quiet presence in her life. He would stop by after work, fix small things in the house, carry heavy loads for her, even help deliver clothes to customers. He never crossed his boundaries, never pressured her, only offered friendship and support. At first, Lena resisted. She felt guilty accepting kindness from her husband's friend, but slowly she began to see his intentions were real. One night, after he fixed a leaking pipe in her bathroom, she whispered, "Thank you, Rona. You don't know how much this means to me." He smiled. "I told Edwin many times that you're a treasure, but he didn't listen. And I won't sit and watch you drown in pain. You deserve better, and I'll always do the best I can in any way." Lena nodded shyly, feeling grateful. Meanwhile, Edwin was still sinking deeper into his paradise. He boasted to his old friends, "I don't need that old job. I don't need stress. Mirabelle gives me everything I want. She's everything I've ever prayed to God about." He walked around in new suits, flashing car keys, mocking those still working hard. But behind the shine, cracks were showing. But he didn't seem to notice. Mirabelle started giving him tasks, running errands, handling small business deals, and treating him more like a servant than a lover. When he complained, she laughed. "If you don't like it, you can go back to your poor wife." Edwin swallowed his pride. He wanted the luxury too much to even think of leaving. Back in Lena's world, she was slowly healing. With Rona's help, she started bouncing back again, began to smile more, even laugh sometimes. One Sunday afternoon, as they walked home together, Lena said, "Ron, thank you. You've been kinder to me than my own husband ever was. Sometimes I wonder why. Why Edwin didn't learn from you." Rona sighed. "Some men do not value what they have until it's gone. He made his choice, Lena. You just have to let the hurt go. You can't carry his burden forever." That night, Lena sat alone, thinking deeply. For what felt like the first time since Edwin left, she didn't cry herself to sleep. Instead, she whispered a prayer of thanks, grateful for the small light of hope that was shining in her darkness. But life always balances itself. As Lena found comfort in care, Edwin was about to face something he didn't see coming. This very evening, he came back to Mirabelle's mansion and found the gate locked. He called her phone many times, but she didn't pick up. After an hour of waiting, she arrived in a flashy car with 2 other men. She came out, ignoring him totally. He exploded. "Mirabelle, what's going on? Why didn't you tell me you were going out?" he asked, trying to stay calm even with the anger in him. She looked at him with irritation. "Edwin, are you okay? Have you gone nut? Why would I tell you I'm going out? I certainly do not owe you any explanation." He frowned. "But I'm your man. I live here." Her laughter cut him short. "My man? Please don't hype yourself over. You call yourself that, but are you really? I won't fail to remind you who owns who here. Don't forget, I picked you up from the gutter." The words hit Edwin like a slap, but he forced a smile, pretending not to care. Deep inside, fear was already rising. He didn't understand what she meant fully, and he hoped not to. He didn't want to even think of anything ruining this life of paradise for him. And while he was battling with his pride, Lena was quietly rebuilding her life, with the one person Edwin never imagined would stand by her side. Edwin's dream life began to shatter like glass under pressure. At first, Mirabelle pampered him with gifts and luxury, but now her true colors started showing. On a faithful evening, she threw a set of car keys at him and said, "Go and pick my friends from the airport. They are already waiting. Go now and do not waste time." Edwin stared at her in disbelief. "Me? You want me to act like your driver or what?" He stammered. Mirabelle raised an eyebrow. "And so? Do you pay rent here? Do you buy food here? The least you can do is be useful." Again, Edwin swallowed his pride. He wanted to argue, but he remembered he had no job, no savings, and no house of his own. He had recklessly lost everything. Quietly, he picked the keys and drove off like an errand boy. The shame got worse. When Mirabelle threw parties, she introduced him not as her lover or man, but as "my boy, Edwin." Some of her friends laughed behind his back, others mocked him openly. "Miracle, you really picked a fine toy boy," one of them giggled at dinner. Edwin forced a smile, but inside he was burning with shame. But on the other end, Lena's life continued changing slowly. With Rona's constant support, she got her confidence back. He encouraged her to expand her tailoring business and even helped her design a small signboard that read Lena Fashions. When her neighbors gossiped, Rona defended her before Lena could even answer. Rona would step forward and tell them, "You all should be ashamed of yourself. Instead of mocking her, you should be inspired by her strength. Not many women would survive what she has gone through. The women would look down, embarrassed, and walk away." Lena always glanced at Rona with an eye of gratitude, feeling grateful that at least for the first time in years, someone stood up for her. Bit by bit, she started laughing even more again. Rona was always there for her, but he never rushed her, never crossed boundaries, just gave her space to breathe and heal. One evening, as they walked home, Lena said softly, "You've done so much for me, Rona. I don't know how to repay you." He smiled warmly. "You don't owe me anything. Your happiness is enough, Lena. Seeing you heal means so much to me." Those words melted her heart. She found herself drawn to him, and they shared some time together that night before Rona left. Back in Mirabelle's mansion, Edwin was now living a nightmare. One night, he asked her to help him invest in a small business idea. Mirabelle laughed so hard, tears rolled down her cheeks. "Edwin, don't make me laugh. You want me to give you money? For what? So you can pretend to be a man again?" "No, I won't. And let me remind you, without me, you are nothing." Her words pierced him like a knife. He stormed out and wandered the streets, thinking about his choices. He remembered Lena begging him to stay, his manager advising him, Rona warning him again and again. But he ignored them all, chasing shadows. Now he was trapped in a golden cage, without dignity or respect. But Lena was shining brighter. With Rona's help, she moved her tailoring into a small rented shop. Customers loved her neat work and polite manner. Soon, she was earning enough to take care of herself. Rona was always there as usual, carrying her sewing machine when it needed repair, driving her to buy fabrics, even helping her keep records of her earnings. His presence was steady, safe, and strong. One night, after a long day, Lena sat on her veranda sipping tea. Rona joined her quietly. They stayed silent for a while, listening to the night crickets. Finally, Lena spoke. "You know, sometimes I wonder what my life would have been if Edwin treated me well. But then I realize maybe this is God's way of rescuing me. Maybe I needed to see his true face. And when he did, God sent me someone special." Rona looked into her eyes for a while. They both went silent for a while. Then he nodded slowly. "Yeah, sometimes pain is the door to something better. You don't see it at first, but later, everything makes sense." They stared into each other's eyes like lovebirds for a moment, and Lena found herself carried away by the true affection in his eyes. She smiled, grateful for knowing him. What they had together was now deep, and they couldn't deny it. But again, while her heart was healing, Edwin's world kept collapsing fast. He came home one weekend and saw another man sitting comfortably in Mirabelle's living room. She introduced the stranger as her new man. Edwin's mouth dropped. "What do you mean, new man?" "I live here." Mirabelle's face turned cold. "Correction, you used to live here. Now, if you don't mind, go in there, pack your things and leave. I'm done with you." "Oh, did you think I would keep a broke, jobless man forever? I only used you for company. Now your time is over." Edwin's knees almost gave way. "Mirabelle? You're joking, right?" he asked, shocked at what he just heard. "Yes, you heard me right. Leave," Mirabelle repeated cruelly. "But you can't do this to me. After everything She cut him off sharply. "There's no more we, Edwin. Get out before I call security." With that, she turned her back, leaving him standing there like a beggar. He packed his small bag quietly, feeling so ashamed. For the first time, he realized he had lost everything: his job, his dignity, and worst of all, his wife. Homeless and broken, he wandered the streets, thinking hard. And then the thought of going back to his wife flashed in his mind. "I still have Lena," he told himself desperately. "She's a good woman. She will forgive me. I know she will take me back. But what he didn't know was that while he was being disgraced and rejected, Lena had already found something priceless, and he was about to get the biggest shock of his life. The next morning, he set out for her house. As he walked down the familiar street, his heart raced. He kept rehearsing words in his head. "Lena, I'm sorry. I was blind. Please take me back." Finally, he reached the gate and froze. A car was parked outside. He recognized it. It was his best friend, Rona's car. His stomach twisted, but he shook his head. "It's nothing. He's just checking on her, as usual." He pushed the gate and walked in. But what he saw made his legs weak. He didn't believe it. He had never expected it. There was Lena sitting on the veranda. Her face glowed brighter than he had ever seen. Beside her sat Rona, laughing as he helped her cut fabric. They looked so comfortable, so natural, like a perfect couple that belonged together. "Lena!" Edwin called in a cracking voice. She turned slowly. For a moment, there was total silence. The moment Rona saw him, he stood up, protectively beside her. Edwin dropped his bag and rushed forward. "Lena, please. I've come back. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have left you. That woman deceived me, used me, and dumped me. But you..." His voice broke. "You are my true wife. Please, forgive me." Lena looked at him with steady eyes, no tears this time. "Forgive you?" she said quietly. "After everything? Is that why you bumped back here all of a sudden from God knows wherever you've been?" Edwin acted like he never noticed his best friend, Rona, standing there. He fell to his knees. "Yes, Lena. I was foolish. I didn't see your value, but I see it now. Please, give me another chance. I will change. I swear. I'll be the good husband you've ever begged me to be." Rona finally stepped forward and spoke in a firm but firm voice. "Edwin, haven't you done enough? You broke this woman, humiliated her, abandoned her when she needed you most. And now you want to walk back as if nothing happened?" Edwin glanced at him in fury. "Rona, stay out of this. How's that any of your business? She's my wife, not yours." But Lena shook her head. "No, Edwin. Not anymore." The words pierced him like a knife. Slowly he asked, "Lena, what do you mean?" She stood firm. This time her voice was stronger than he had ever heard. "When you left me, I thought my life was over. I cried, I prayed, I begged God to bring you back. But instead," she paused, "instead, he sent me someone who showed me the love and respect I never got from you. Someone who picked me up when you left me to drown." She glanced at Rona with soft eyes. "And that someone is standing right here." Edwin's mouth fell open. You and Rona? No, that's betrayal. He's my best friend." Rona looked at him firmly. "I warned you, Edwin. I told you not to mistreat her. I told you not to take her for granted. But you laughed at me. You chose money over love. You chose pride over wisdom. You already made your choice, and you lost." He shifted closer to Lena as if to say protectively. Edwin shook his head violently. "No, Lena, you can't do this. You're my wife, remember? You took vows. You belong to me." Lena's voice was calm but firm. "I belonged to you when I loved, respected, and cared for you, Edwin. But you threw me away like trash. Now I belong to a man who sees me as a treasure." Edwin staggered backward. He stretched his hand toward her, trembling. "Lena, please. Don't do this to me. Give me one more chance. I've lost everything." "You're all I have left." Lena looked at him with pity, not anger. Then she dropped a bomb. "Edwin, you don't understand. Even if I wanted to forgive you, it's too late." His eyes widened. "Too late? What do you mean by too late?" Her hand slowly rested on her stomach. For a moment he didn't get it at first. But then, like thunder, he realized what she meant. You're pregnant?" He stammered. His voice was barely a whisper. She nodded. "Yes, and the father of this child is the man who stood by me when you abandoned me." Edwin's legs became weak. He dropped to the ground, holding his head. No, this can't be happening. My own best friend? My own wife? A child?" Rona's voice was steady. "She's not yours anymore, Edwin. You lost that right the day you walked away. This is our family now, and you have no place here." Edwin broke down in tears, pounding the ground with his fists. the proud man who once mocked love was now a shadow of himself. And Lena? She didn't feel remorseful for anything. He already left her and fate sealed it. With that, she turned and walked inside the house with Rona by her side. The door closed, leaving Edwin on his knees in the compound with tears of pain and regrets. He had chased after wealth and lost everything that mattered. The wife who once prayed for him now prayed with another man. The best friend he ignored now stood as her protector. The child he could have had now belonged to someone else. It was too late. And as he stumbled away from the house, broken and defeated, the truth echoed in his heart. He lost a good woman because of foolishness and greed for money. Friends, don't be like Adine. He lost everything because of greed and foolishness. He chased shadows and abandoned a good woman who only wanted to love him. And life taught him the hardest lesson. You don't know the value of what you have until it's gone forever. What do you think about this story? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. This is Roots of the African Tales, where every story carries wisdom from our roots. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss the next powerful story.